Hello, how are you? Kumusta po kayo? And thanks for tuning in to another edition of Paul Presents Art. So my name is Paul and I'll be your guide today. Today we're just outside Pendulum Gallery here in Vancouver, which is of course built on the ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. And we're gonna go take in one of the preview shows for the Eastside Culture Crawl with the title Passion, Reason, Idiocy. So we're going to go inside momentarily to have a look. It's a large show and it's one of 3 venues, but we're going to cover this one. I hope you can join me for the tour and let's go inside. So we just entered the Pendulum Gallery and it's a modular and labyrinthine space. For this video, we'll wander around the exhibition space to see the vast array of work on display. While we're doing that, let me give you a brief synopsis of the show and some information about the Eastside Culture Crawl. Going strong for the past 29 years, the Eastside Culture Crawl is a much-loved visual art and craft festival in Vancouver, where artists open their studios during a 4-day weekend in November, inviting the public to show their latest work. From thought-provoking to utilitarian, fine art to fine craft, the 4-day art festival showcases over 500 studios in 80 buildings, scattered within the Eastside Arts District, and welcomes over 25,000 visitors each year. It's a celebration of creativity and community, where the mystery of creating art is revealed. Don't you just love this finger painting, that long feminist middle finger right beside those angry white men? That's one hell of a start to the exhibition, don't you think? And the large reptilian head with its tongue sticking out, trying to capture an orange modernist sculpture, it seems. If you're new to the channel, please know that this channel is about art, exhibitions in contemporary, historical, and outsider art, group shows, art collections, etc. I live in Vancouver, Canada, so most of my videos will be based in that region, but I'll cover exhibitions as I travel. This massive work is one of the largest works in the show. The reptile's head and hands are ceramic, while the long protruding tongue is made from insulation foam. When I first encountered this work, I thought about dinosaur evolution and what our society may have looked like if the dinosaurs survived the great meteor cataclysm millions of years ago and became dominant. Then a thought occurred to me that reptiles, in my opinion, represents an aspect of gender fluidity. While the sex of most snakes and lizards are determined by chromosomes at the time of fertilization, the sex of some reptiles, like turtles and crocodiles, are determined by the environment after fertilization. Makes you think, huh? Every year, the preview shows open a few weeks before the Culture Crawl open studios and gives the public a taste of what's on offer. This year's theme is Passion, Reason, Idiocy, and the 3 galleries involved, the Culture Gallery, Alternative Creations, and here at the Pendulum Gallery, offer a veritable buffet of artistic influences to satisfy every taste and flavor. The shows are juried by 3 art professionals who work to cultivate the diversity, equality, and inclusiveness of what the community has to offer. It's a trifecta of themes, gallery venues, and jury members. We've moved over to the next wall featuring 3 paintings, 2 of which are part of the same series that, in my opinion, reflects upon social infrastructure, which can refer to our urban experiences and our community-based social networks. These 2 paintings reference acts of social activism, which I feel juxtaposes well with a larger painting featuring the Orange Menace. Is he a symbol for autocracy, political domination, and global corporate greed? Swirling around and above the portrait are creatures, perhaps demons, in spirit form, biding their time, patiently. But that's just my interpretation. What do you think? Just opposite the wall is a ceramic bust portrait on a pedestal, adorned with flowers and seashells, in the form of a Janus head, the other portrait facing the street. The title of the work references Leonora Carrington, a British surrealist artist and writer who lived most of her adult life in Mexico City. This work celebrates the achievements of female role models through likenesses or effigies that are elevated to the stature of portraiture. As we move into the inner sanctum of the exhibition space, we'll have a look at some unconventional work in the show and settle for a moment in front of what I referred to as the doll massacre. There is a macabre sense to this work, with the barbed wire, hanging the dismembered, headless, and limbless bodies of doll torsos. And on each torso, letters are carved out to spell, "Protect the dolls." And protect them from who? Perhaps Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell? That infamous duo accused of child trafficking that are so meme-worthy these days through the Epstein files. Am I imagining this? Is it a bad dream? Moving right along, we'll encounter a small collection of paintings that references a variety of genres, from neon-saturated abstraction, urban scenes, the countryside, and even a portrait of a chain smoker. This show at the Pendulum Gallery showcases close to 50 artists. That's a hell of a lot of artists, and a hell of a lot of ideas. I usually offer some commentary for each work, but the immensity of this show prevents me from doing that. But I will offer some thoughts on a few works. If you're interested in knowing more about the artist, you can visit the Eastside Culture Crawl website in the description area of this video for more information. Now we're looking at, is that a subway station map? The graphic is rather ubiquitous these days, ever since the invention of rapid public transit. A similar design was employed for the Montreal Metro station, complete with 1970s style graphics that has become retro style these days. I'm gonna zoom in on this work to get a closer look. Of all the works in the show, this one, in my opinion, was made specifically with a theme in mind: passion, reason, idiocy. I admire the simplicity and complexity this work exudes. I think we can all relate, don't you think? Especially on those dull, cloudy, dark days of fall and winter, where melancholy rules without abandon. We're turning around to have a cursory look at some of the other works in this inner exhibition space. As you can see, the works are varied, and it can be difficult to discern some cohesive theme. But that's exactly the point for the Eastside Culture Crawl's preview shows. These shows were designed initially to be hung salon style, with little to no explanation. The visual content is the main vehicle for communicating the artist's vision, and from that vision comes our subjective interpretation of the work. Moving right along and zooming in on the opposite corner, it appears altar-like, with the goblets of red liquid commanding center stage, literally. The pair of hand-blown and crafted Venetian-style goblets read like Roman Catholic wine vessels, but instead of wine, the red liquid is meant to represent menstrual blood. Perhaps a feminist reading of this work, which alludes to the blood of Christ, could revise the common belief of Christ's gender. Could Christ have been a woman? Is that possible? Radical, sure. On the other corner lies a collection of, in my opinion, folk-inspired paintings of animals, mostly in hilarious poses. But the opposite wall yields an entirely different sensibility. Abstract in nature, this work was described as a topographical representation of plastics as a function of human connection in the global marketplace. It's composed of a variety of materials: plastic foam balls, synthetic hair, recycled brush fibers, clay, concrete, beeswax, dirt, oil, garbage, debris, resin. As we look closer, there's an overwhelming density of detritus that, in my opinion, comments on our lack of ecological responsibility with nature and the environment. Plastics are everywhere, and is hereby transformed through art, for your delighted or repulsed delectation. We're swinging around to the other side of the wall to have a look at a small collection of 2- and 3-dimensional abstract pieces. They include works on paper, lens-based work, and a felted sculpture. Although varied in media, these works exude a minimalist tendency toward an abstract interpretation of the landscape. Nature and the landscape have been recurrent themes throughout history, and these works offer a distilled and concentrated interpretation. Moving right along, we encounter a trifecta of vibrant and luscious images, again in a variety of media. These images are dense with color, imagery, and imagination that strongly references surrealistic tendencies, from the crow with a mirror to a Salvador Dali-esque montage and a vibrant, lush table setting reminiscent of Dutch still life painting. The works evoke passion for life, color, and imagery. Just around the corner, we encounter a large abstract work that seems to hover within gestural abstraction and referencing calligraphic influences, amongst some other 3-dimensional works that have a dichotomy of meaning. As we navigate these works, I'd like to briefly expand on this year's theme: passion, reason, idiocy, which sounds counterintuitive and possibly mirror a dichotomy, but they rest within the soul of any artist. The chosen themes are open-ended, inclusive, expansive, and often generates unexpected reactions. Creativity is a war between the mind and the soul, which mirror the disciplined Apollonian versus the decadent Dionysian sides of our psyche. And it's not accidental that the jurors, relishing a sense of light humor, paired this bluntly pointed and mirrored paperweight in front of the chiseled backside. But that says more about passion rather than reason nor idiocy, don't you agree? What do you think? Moving right along on the same wall is one of the larger pieces in the show, a textured, flowing, bark-like shroud dangling from a branch. The natural elements this work evokes comment on nature's mechanisms of healing and regeneration. Nature strongly resonates with our experiences of the world, inspiring us to contemplate and mimic its textures and processes as a creative and experiential refuge. As we progress through this wall, the works on display, in my opinion, demonstrate a contained and economical use of color, similar to a minimalist trope, but heightened by the gestures as well as textures, both suggested and real, sourced from a variety of experiences, marks, flesh, and natural decay, which all form a cohesive but variable interpretation from a variety of media. Moving over to an adjacent, smaller wall, we zoom in on a few compositions that, to me, register as landscapes. From a traditional outdoor natural setting to what appears to be a couple of topographic views of a tabletop with a variety of items, organized in a geometric, early modernist style. Perhaps a domestic scene in preparation of a meal, but we can also play with metaphor and symbolism to expand our imagination. Now we zoom over to another part of the gallery where we see a wall that inspires a calligraphic theme. The act of writing has a long history, both in art and literature. Text, for example, plays a role in the transmission of knowledge, but is also a visual manifestation of it, and these works seem to reflect on both. And this last corner displays an array of charming and quirky head-scratchers. If there's one thing I've observed in this expansive exhibition, is that every wall represents a micro-narrative, be it the political, the textured, the natural, the sexual, the macabre, the religious, the folkloric, the calligraphic, and now the humorous. And how is this set of works humorous, you may ask? Well, let's just say that a faceless man, a horned legless creature, and a female logger walk into a bar. And I believe that's a good place to leave things. I may have missed a few works in the show, and I apologize for that. I hope you enjoyed this tour of the Eastside Culture Crawls exhibition with the theme Passion, Reason, Idiocy here at the Pendulum Gallery. If you'd like to share your thoughts, observations, questions, please do so in the comment section below. That would be great. Click the like button and be sure to subscribe to the channel. It's free, and as a non-monetized channel, subscribing achieves visibility and creates added awareness of the artist and the gallery. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Thank you for joining me today. Have a great day, and I hope art continues to inform your life. Tune in again next time for more art-related videos. Goodbye!